For every beloved character in Harry Potter, there's also one who is hated by everyone, starting with Dolores Umbridge. Dolores Umbridge is often called the most hated character in the entire series, and it's not hard to see why. Unlike Voldemort, who was openly evil, Umbridge hid behind rules and authority while enjoying the power she had over others. That's what made her so terrifying. Her cruelty looked like ordinary discipline. When she came to Hogwarts as defense against the dark arts professor in Harry's 5th year, she banned practical magic and forced students to read a useless textbook called Defensive Magical Theory. Anyone who challenged her was silenced. Harry suffered the worst of it, detention with a blood quill that carved words into his skin. Her prejudice was just as dangerous. She constantly insulted Hagrid for being half-giant, dismissed centaurs as filthy half-breeds, and later as head of the Muggleborn Registration Commission, she helped persecute Muggleborns under Voldemort's control. Every position she held, she twisted into a weapon against the vulnerable. What cements her reputation is that she never saw herself as a villain. She believed she was right, even while causing pain. That blend of arrogance, cruelty, and bureaucracy is exactly why fans still agree. Dolores Umbridge is the most despised witch in the wizarding world. Sirius Black. For many fans, Sirius Black represents freedom, loyalty, and the family Harry never had. Wrongly imprisoned in Azkaban for 12 years, he escaped not just to clear his name, but to protect Harry and confront the real traitor. That loyalty and sacrifice made him unforgettable. As Harry's godfather, Sirius became a symbol of freedom. He was reckless and bold, but also deeply caring. He let Harry know he wasn't alone, offering him a home and a sense of belonging that the Dursleys never gave him. Even while in hiding, Sirius risked everything to guide Harry through the Triwizard Tournament and supported the Order of the Phoenix from Grimmauld Place. His death in the Department of Mysteries was devastating. Struck by Bellatrix and lost through the Veil, he died fighting for Harry's cause. That loss was one of the hardest blows Harry faced, and it's exactly why fans treasure Sirius. He stood for love, loyalty, and the price of freedom. Peter Pettigrew. The reason Peter Pettigrew is so despised comes down to one word: betrayal. As a marauder, he was close to James, Sirius, and Remus. But when Voldemort hunted the Potters, Pettigrew was their secret keeper, the one person who knew where they were hiding. Instead of protecting them, he revealed their location, leading directly to their deaths. To cover his tracks, he faked his own death, killed 12 Muggles, and framed Sirius. For 12 years, he hid as Ron's pet rat, Scabbers, avoiding responsibility. That cowardice, living in disguise while others suffered, cemented the hatred fans feel toward him. When he returned to Voldemort, Pettigrew helped perform the ritual that restored his master's body, even cutting off his own hand in service. But his end revealed the truth. When ordered to kill Harry, he hesitated, and the magical silver hand Voldemort gave him turned on its owner. What makes Pettigrew so despised is simple. He betrayed friendship, chose survival over loyalty, and caused tragedies that defined the entire story. Hermione Granger. Hermione Granger is one of the most loved characters because she proves that intelligence, preparation, and heart can be just as heroic as raw power. From the very beginning, she stood out as the brightest witch of her age, mastering spells ahead of her peers and saving the trio more times than anyone can count. Her actions show why she's so admired. She brewed Polyjuice Potion at 12, used a time turner to help save Sirius and Buckbeak, and stood up against prejudice as a proud Muggleborn. She even created SPEW, her campaign for house elf rights, proving she cared about justice, even when others laughed. During the Horcrux hunt, Hermione was the reason Harry and Ron survived. She set protective enchantments, carried essentials in her beaded bag, and endured torture at Malfoy Manor without betraying them. The hardest decision she made, erasing her parents' memories to protect them, showed the depth of her courage. Hermione is loved because she embodies loyalty, brilliance, and moral strength. She isn't just a sidekick, she's the reason victory was possible. Bellatrix Lestrange. Bellatrix Lestrange is feared and hated because her cruelty goes hand in hand with devotion. Unlike Voldemort's cold ambition, Bellatrix's violence is personal. She enjoys inflicting pain, which makes her terrifying. Her crimes are unforgettable. She tortured Frank and Alice Longbottom into insanity, a crime that defined her reputation. In the Department of Mysteries, she killed Sirius Black in front of Harry, mocking him as she did it. Later, she threw the knife that killed Dobby during the escape from Malfoy Manor. And in that same manner, she tortured Hermione for information, showing no hesitation reputation in harming a child. What makes her so despised is that she saw all of this as proof of loyalty. To her, torture was devotion, murder was service, and Voldemort was almost a god. Even in the Battle of Hogwarts, she fought with arrogance, only to be killed by Molly Weasley after threatening Ginny. Bellatrix is hated because she represents fanaticism pushed to its limit, an enemy who never hesitated and never cared who she destroyed. Minerva McGonagall, strict, fair, and fiercely protective. Minerva McGonagall earned respect that turned into love. As deputy headmistress and head of Gryffindor House, she was strict but never cruel. Fans admire her because every rule she enforced came from a place of integrity. Her moments of courage cemented her place in the loved category. She personally dueled Death Eaters during the Battle of Hogwarts, and even earlier, she stood up to Dolores Umbridge, openly defying her interference at the school. When Harry and his friends needed support, McGonagall made it clear she would protect them, even risking her own life. She also provided wisdom and encouragement at key moments, treating Harry with both discipline and care. In the final book, she rallied Hogwarts to defend itself, leading the charge with transfiguration spells that turned statues into soldiers. McGonagall is loved because she embodies what a teacher and leader should be: demanding, protective, and willing to fight when it matters most. Draco Malfoy. Draco Malfoy earned a reputation as one of the most hated students at Hogwarts because he embodied arrogance, prejudice, and bullying. From his very first meeting with Harry, he looked down on Muggleborns, mocked Ron for being poor, and made it his mission to humiliate others. Much of the hatred toward Draco comes from his role as a rival. He joined Umbridge's inquisitorial squad, abused his position to target Gryffindors, tried to sabotage Harry in Quidditch, and never missed a chance to spread rumors. Fans still point to one of the most satisfying moments in the series, when Hermione punched him in The Prisoner of Azkaban after he gloated over Buckbeak's supposed death. It captured exactly how much resentment Draco inspired. His later years did show more complexity. In Half-Blood Prince, he struggled with the mission to kill Dumbledore and ultimately couldn't go through with it. But even with that nuance, Draco is remembered as one of the most hated because his everyday cruelty left a lasting mark on Harry's years at Hogwarts. Dobby. Dobby's journey from servant to hero made him one of the most beloved figures in the wizarding world. As a house elf for the Malfoys, he secretly warns Harry not to return to Hogwarts in second year. His attempts are chaotic. He drops a pudding at the Dursleys, seals the barrier to platform 9 3/4, and enchants a bludger to target Harry. Yet each act comes from the same place: protect Harry at any cost. What defines Dobby is courage with a conscience. He later helps expose Lucius Malfoy by presenting Harry with Tom Riddle's diary, which Harry hands back in a sock, freeing Dobby according to house elf magic. After gaining freedom, he chooses honest work at Hogwarts for wages and time off, showing he wants dignity, not just liberty. Dobby's final act shows why fans cherish him. He rescues Harry and his friends from Malfoy Manor, disapparating them to Shell Cottage under fire. Bellatrix throws a knife as they depart, and Dobby dies after completing the rescue, calling it such a beautiful place to be with friends. His arc from oppressed servant to self-directed hero captures why he's remembered with so much love. Gilderoy Lockhart. Gilderoy Lockhart is widely disliked because he's a fraud who built fame on other wizards' deeds. As defense against the dark arts professor in second year, he bragged about expelling banshees and defeating werewolves. But those achievements were stolen stories. His real skill was memory charms. He silenced the true heroes and claimed the credit. At Hogwarts, he was incompetent and dangerous. He prescribed useless homework, staged vanity stunts, and fled whenever trouble started. When forced to help in the Chamber of Secrets, he tried to obliviate Harry and Ron with Ron's broken wand. The spell backfired and erased his own memory. We later see him at St. Mungo's with long-term spell damage, still signing autographs without understanding who he is. Fans resent Lockhart because his lies put students at risk and cheapened real heroism. In a world of courage and sacrifice, he chose ego, and that's why he's remembered so poorly. Luna Lovegood. Luna Lovegood charmed fans by refusing to hide her oddities, showing that authenticity can be powerful. Introduced in Order of the Phoenix, she's mocked as Loony Lovegood for her odd beliefs and dreamy manner, yet she never hides who she is. Fans admire her because she represents authenticity in a world that often values conformity. Her loyalty makes her unforgettable. She's one of a few who believes Harry after Voldemort's return. She fights at the Department of Mysteries, and she joins Dumbledore's army without hesitation. During the Horcrux hunt, Luna is captured and imprisoned at Malfoy Manor, but she endures without bitterness and helps Harry escape. What cements her as beloved is how she treats others. She comforts Harry after Sirius's death by speaking calmly about loss and the possibility of seeing loved ones again. Luna is loved because she reminds everyone that being different can be a strength and that empathy is its own kind of magic. Rita Skeeter. Rita Skeeter made enemies everywhere she went, and not with curses but with her quill. As a journalist for the Daily Prophet, she thrives on gossip, scandal, and half-truths, damaging reputations for profit. Fans dislike her because she represents dishonesty dressed as news. Her worst work appears in Goblet of Fire. She paints Harry as unstable, mocks Hermione as manipulative, and misrepresents Hagrid's giant heritage, all to sell papers. What made her particularly dangerous was her unregistered animagus form, a beetle. Insect size, she spied on private conversations to fuel her articles, breaking wizarding law to build lies. Eventually, Hermione traps her in a jar, forcing Rita to stop reporting for a year. But by then, her damage was done. Rita is hated because she shows how words can wound as deeply as curses. In a world of magic and war, she wielded lies, and fans never forgave her for it. Rubeus Hagrid. From the moment he knocked on the Dursleys' door, Hagrid became the heart of Harry's story. From the very first book, he's the one who introduces Harry to the wizarding world, giving him his first birthday cake, escorting him to Diagon Alley, and making him feel at home in a world that had rejected him. Fans admire Hagrid for his big heart. Though half-giant and often judged for it, he treats everyone with kindness, from Harry to the many dangerous creatures he loves. His care for Norbert the dragon, Buckbeak the hippogriff, and even Aragog the acromantula shows how he values life others fear. Hagrid also proves his courage time and time again. He carries Harry from the ruins of Godric's Hollow, fights alongside the Order of the Phoenix, and stands firm in the Battle of Hogwarts. He's loved because he never stopped being gentle, even when the world was cruel to him. Severus Snape. Severus Snape remains one of the most divisive figures in the series, often counted among the most hated because of the way he treated Harry and other students. As potions master, he insulted Neville, bullied Hermione about her appearance, and made Harry feel worthless in his classroom. For many fans, this cruelty overshadows his later redemption. Snape's hatred of Harry seemed personal, fueled by his resentment of James Potter. He used his position to belittle instead of teach, leaving a lasting impression of bitterness. That's why so many readers and viewers place him firmly in the hated category. Yet his story complicates that judgment. As revealed in Deathly Hallows, he protected Harry because of his love for Lily Potter. He passed critical information to Dumbledore, cast the Doe Patronus, and gave his life in the fight against Voldemort. These actions reframed him as a tragic hero. Still, what keeps Snape on the hated list is that both truths exist. He was essential in Voldemort's defeat, but he was also an abuser in the classroom. For many fans, that duality doesn't erase the harm he caused, making him one of the saga's most bitterly debated characters. Remus Lupin. Remus Lupin won fans over with patience, kindness, and the ability to make even the weakest student feel strong. Introduced in Prisoner of Azkaban as the new defense against the dark arts professor, he immediately stood out by treating students with patience and respect. He taught them practical skills like the Patronus charm, and gave even the most nervous students, like Neville, the confidence to succeed. Fans admire Lupin for how he carried his own struggles with dignity. As a werewolf, he lived under stigma and isolation, but he never turned bitter. Instead, he devoted himself to fighting Voldemort through the Order of the Phoenix, and protecting Harry as a link to his parents' past. His personal life showed his humanity. He married Nymphadora Tonks, despite fearing his condition would endanger her and their child Teddy. Lupin ultimately fought and died in the Battle of Hogwarts, leaving behind both tragedy and inspiration. He's loved because he represents resilience, the ability to face hardship with kindness and courage, proving that even those marked by darkness can bring light to others.